Hey everyone, welcome to another painting tutorial. My name is Jay, and today I'll be showing you how I painted up the new awesome Necron model, the Triarch Stalker. I began by carefully removing all of the applicable pieces from the sprues. Then with a sharp hobby knife, I carefully removed as many of the mold lines as I can from the pieces, which unfortunately there were a bunch of them, as there tends to be on these new Necron models. I primed all the pieces of the model using Vallejo Air Model Gray Primer. If you want to save yourself some time, I'd recommend using black primer from GW. However, I just prefer the gray primer and then going over it with black paint because it produces a nice matte look and the primers tend to be a little bit shiny. Then using an airbrush, I sprayed all of the legs and the body of the Triarch Stalker using Abaddon black. In these cases, an airbrush is a really good time saver, as it allows you to spray a really nice even coat over the entire model in very, very little time. When the black paint was done, I painted all the orbs, the wiring, and as well as I did all the edge highlighting over the entire model using Warboss green. This edge highlighting took a very long time and was actually the majority of the time I spent painting the model, because there was a lot of edge highlighting to do, as anybody who's painted the new Necron models is probably very well aware of. Remember, when doing the edge highlighting, it's important to not have a lot of paint on your brush and just to drag it very gently across the edges of the surface. I also painted all of the buttons and the orbs on the control panel, all the ones that were supposed to be green. I also painted them Warboss green as well. Next, I did a highlight on all of these areas using Moot Green. For the orbs and the wiring, I made sure to focus on the centers, and for the edge highlighting, I tried to just do a subset of the previous edge highlighting, once again focusing more towards the center of the legs and the body. Finally, I did one more highlight using Flash Gitz Yellow, focusing on the center of the orbs and the wiring in any part that's supposed to be glowing. As yellow is a very bright color, much brighter than the greens, I will actually do a blend in just a moment using a glaze. Therefore, to blend all of these greens and yellows together, as well as produce a really nice glowing effect, I gave all of these green areas a Waywatcher green glaze. When using these glazes, remember to go with a very thin coat and then work your way. If you want to produce a little darker of a color, just do another very thin coat. When the glaze was dry, I started on all the metallic areas on the model by painting them the new base color, Leadbelcher. This is a perfect color which will create a nice base coat, which will then wash and go over with a couple highlights later. For most of the pieces, I just used a standard brush. However, on the Necron itself, I just quickly used an airbrush, which you'll see here, just to save myself a little time, as they were done at slightly different steps. I then gave all of these metallic areas a black-brown shading comprising of a 1-to-1 mix of Nuln Oil to Agrax Earthshade. This shading will give everything a really nice, slightly dirty appearance, as well as bring out all the really nice details in all these metallic areas. When the wash was dry, I gave it all these metallic areas quick dry brush using Ironbreaker, which just doing a very light dry brush will bring out the edge highlights and make them really pop on all of these metallic areas, as well as give a nice variety of colors. You don't want to just use a wash and one color because it produces a really just dull, flatter look. And then I did one more lighter highlight on all these areas using Necron Compound, the new dry paint. I then turned my attention to all the gold areas on the model by painting them the base color Balthasar Gold, which once again will act as a really nice foundation color for all of these gold areas, and yeah, we'll once again wash them and go over it with some highlights again. I then gave all these gold areas the same shading that I did before with the other areas, a 1-to-1 mix of Agrax Earthshade to Devlin Mud to give it a slightly older, dirtier appearance. When the wash was dry, I did a highlight on all these gold areas using Gehenna's Gold. I really like Gehenna's Gold. It's one of the new gold colors, and it's a very warm gold. It has a lot of red pigment in it and just produces a really nice warm gold effect. And yeah, I really like it. On the Necron Praetorian himself, I actually did another highlight using Auric Armor Gold after this, but I just unfortunately don't have the footage. So just to bring out a little bit more of the edge detail, so I focused primarily on the edges using the Auric Gold, just to give it a little more brightness and to make it pop a little bit more. I then painted his chest symbol, once again using Abaddon black, pretty standard. And then I painted the orbs, the wiring, and his eyes on the Praetorian himself using the exact same method that I did before in the other greens, starting with Warboss, then Moot Green as a highlight, Flash Gitz yellow, and then a Waywatcher green glaze. And then I painted his face white. I used Ceremite white and then did slight highlights using white scars. However, you can do the process by building up thin layers of white scars if you don't have Ceremite white. And here's what his face looked like, as well as the model looked like when it was done. And then I focused on the blues by painting all the buttons that were blue, as well as the blue orb in the center of the console, using Caledor Sky. I then built up lighter colors, first with Lothern blue, focusing on the center of these lights and the buttons and the orb, building up just a very thin layer by layer on the center, which will give it some contrast. And then second, I used white in just the very center of these areas. I used white scars. Again, you could use Ceremite white if you want. Either one will work. And then to blend them, I gave all these areas a Drakenhof Nightshade, which will produce a nice intricate kind of shading pattern on all these parts, as well as blend all the colors together. And that's it. You now know how I painted up the new Triarch Stalker for the Necron army. Overall, I'd have to say that I was very happy with the way it turned out. You'll probably notice that I didn't paint a gun. It was just because I couldn't choose between the guns, and 6th edition is right around the corner. However, if you want to know how I painted the gun, if I would have built it, I would have used the same method using the same colored metallics, the black, as well as built up the same colors of green on all the orbs and the wiring on the guns. So basically you do know how I would have painted up the gun if it existed on this model. Overall, I have to say that I'm very happy with the appearance. I really love the model, and I think it's going to be awesome on the tabletop. And frankly, I just can't wait to use it. And that's it. So as always, thank you to all you awesome people out there for watching my videos. You're just truly awesome. And please like, comment on this video, and feel free to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't done so. So until next time, this is Jay saying, happy painting everyone.